Boker Tov, everyone. That means good morning. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. You can respond back to me.
Shabbat Shalom.
So quiet. All of a sudden you got quiet. Good morning and welcome to Solel Congregation. Many of the faces that are here I do recognize. Some of the faces that are here I don't recognize. I'm Rabbi Audrey Pollack, and you're here at Solel this morning as we're going to celebrate Shabbat. We're also going to be celebrating with Clara as she becomes a bat mitzvah this morning. So I expect that some of you are here for that reason as well. And before we start our service this morning, just a few things to note. First of all, we're thrilled that you're here with us this morning. If you have been to Solel before, you know a little bit about how we do services here this morning. If you haven't been, welcome. You have picked a wonderful bat mitzvah to be here for. We're going to be praying out of our prayer book, which is called the Siddur, which is this green book. If you are seated in the front row, you may not have that book in front of you. We can get some of those passed to you. If you're seated in any of the other rows, there should be this green prayer book just in the seat pocket that is in front of you. This is our prayer book, and this is what we're going to be using during the service this morning. If you open it up, you might notice that it opens from right to left. We got a big discount from the printer because they printed it backwards. Just kidding. It's actually going the right direction because Hebrew is read from right to left, so therefore when we are reading, we are going from right to left in the book. Some of our service will be in Hebrew this morning, some of it will be in English. If you don't read Hebrew, that's okay. Much of the service is also written in English characters. If you turn right now to page 71, you'll see what I mean. That's going to be our opening prayer, opening song this morning. And you will notice that under the Hebrew letters, there are English words. Those words are actually transliteration of what the Hebrew is. We invite you to join with us and sing as much as you feel comfortable. If not, you're invited to just sing Lai Lai Lai. And just join with us in prayer. You'll find as well that parts of the service are in italics. That's for call and response. So we'll be reading responsively in those parts of the service. If you find yourself during the service needing to go out, we invite all young people to participate with us this morning. If you have a little trouble sitting, we understand it's sometimes hard to do that. But if you'd like to, you can go out and come back in, okay? We're also welcoming all those who are with us on live stream this morning. We're delighted to have you with us wherever you're joining us from. We often have people that join us from not only all over Canada, but all over North America and the world. So it's great to have you with us too. So I'd like to invite Clara to come up here this morning. We're going to lead in the opening song, the opening blessing this morning. But before we do so, I notice that very often these days people carry around this little device in their pockets or purses. And you can do lots of things with it, but it makes lots of noise. What I'd invite you to do right now is to take that little device, that phone, out of your pocket or purse. The other thing I notice is that very often these days, if it doesn't appear on social media, it didn't happen. So I invite you as we look towards different parts of the sanctuary, if you'd like to take a photo this morning of Clara on her special day, you're invited to, here, let's start over here. By the time you get to your parents, they will have their phones out. All right? If you'd like to do that, then you can post it and say, look, I was at Clara's bat mitzvah this morning. What a wonderful time I had. Okay, let's go over, look over this way. All right, one more over here. Special look at Mom and Dad and Boogie and Sadie and Grandpa and Grandma. Okay, so I'm going to ask you now if you would kindly put your phone on either silent or turn it off so that we're not disturbed during the service this morning. We do have someone that is taking photos for us. Thank you, Lindsay. And as well, we are streaming. So if you want to go back and relive the excitement of this moment, you're welcome to do so. We're going to begin on page 71, as I said, with the words of Ma Tovu. This is a traditional prayer that we say in the morning, especially as we enter the synagogue, because parts of it say that I enter this place, your dwelling place, O God, and with awe I worship in your holy temple. And as we begin this morning, I invite you to join with us. In the morning, we always join together in words of blessing, thanking God for being able to wake up, thanking God for our bodies and for our souls. So we're going to be continuing in the prayer for the soul at the top of page 73. The words are Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehoraki which reminds us that the soul is also the breath. Every one of those 5, 6 words that I just read ends in an open syllable. It reminds us to breathe. So I invite you to join with us in Elohai as we breathe in this day. Elohai. On the top of the following page, you'll find a blessing for study. Every day we have the opportunity to learn and to grow, to learn something new and to take that into our lives. And so every day we say this bracha. It lasts throughout the day because we learn new things all day long. We're going to sing this bracha, this blessing, the setting of which was composed by our Rabbi Emeritus, Rabbi Larry Englander. And then we're going to invite Clara to lead us in a little bit of study on the following page. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'shanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah b'divrei Torah la'asok b'divrei Torah b'divrei Torah Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'shanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah b'divrei Torah la'asok b'divrei Torah b'divrei Torah. So we're in the middle of page 75, where it says from the oral Torah. We're going to learn a little bit this morning.
אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, שאדם אוכל פירותיהם בעולם הזה, והקרן כאמת לו לעולם הבא. ואלו הם כיבוד אבאים,
To honor father and mother,
וגמילות חסדים,
to perform acts of love and kindness,
והשכמת בית המדרש שחרית וערבית,
to attend the house of study daily,
והכנסת אורחים,
to welcome the stranger,
וביקור חולים,
to visit the sick,
והכנסת חתן וכלה,
to bring marriage partners to the chuppah,
ולוויית חמץ,
to accompany the dead to burial,
ועיון תפילה,
to pray with sincerity,
והלה עד שלום בין אדם לחברו,
to make peace when there is strife,
ותלמוד תורה כנגד כולם.
and the study of Torah is equal to them all, because it leads to them all. We turn together to the blessings for each day at the bottom of page 79, Birkot Shabbat Yom. Each day, when we wake up in the morning, we are grateful for the opportunity to open our eyes, to stretch our bodies, to use everything that we have been given to go out and do good work in the world.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sefir binah, l'achim b'yom u'b'layla. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzavah
We continue with the words of Pesukei Zimra, Psalms and Poems of Praise for the Shabbat morning. As we begin on page 82, we pray responsively in the English. Shirley Evans, would you lead us there?
We praise the one who spoke and the world came to be. We praise the source of creation.
We praise the one whose word is deed, whose thought is fact. We praise the one whose compassion covers the earth and its creatures.
We praise the living and eternal God. We praise the name of our Redeemer.
With songs of praise we extol you and proclaim you are sovereign God, for you are the source of life in the universe. We offer blessings to you with the songs of praise. On page 84, you'll find the words of the Ashrei, Psalm 145. Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha, O Yehallelucha Selah. Happy are those who dwell in your house. They will sing your praises forever. Page 89, we have the words of Psalm 150. Let every breath, let every soul praise you. Hallelujah, 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 So we turn now to the bottom of page 92 as we call upon Clara to lead us in the words of the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yikada v'yikada shamei Rabba.
Amen.
Yamadi v'achyote v'yamit mahute
Israel.
shacharit. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tu shechata v'nehemata. Damiram v'yalma.
We rise on page 95 in body or spirit for the words of the call to prayer, the words of Baruch Hu. Please be seated. As we continue at the bottom of page 95 in the prayer for creation, Dave, would you lead us there?
We pray to the eternal God, who shows creation, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and gives life to all. With compassion you illumine the world and its inhabitants. Through your goodness, creation is continually renewed.
How you have varied your works. All of them were made with wisdom. The universe is filled with your creative power. The stars and planets themselves radiate praise for you.
Cause a new light to shine upon God, and may we be worthy to behold its splendor.
We praise you, eternal one, creator of life. And on page 98, prayer Ahava Rabbah, that reminds us that we have been given the gift of Torah. Rita, would you lead us there?
You give us abundant love, our beloved God, and show us great compassion. One goes near and far, our ancestors trusted in you, and so you taught them the laws of life. For their sake, we now pray that you teach us.
Merciful God, nurture us and instruct our hearts to understand and discern, hearken, learn, and teach, observe, do, and fulfill all your teachings and law.
Enlighten us with your Torah, inspire us to embrace your mitzvot, and unify us to love and revere your name. May we never be shamed as long as we trust in your holy, great, and awe-inspiring name. We shall rejoice and know happiness and redemption, since you move all things toward completion.
Bring us in peace from the four corners of the earth, and lead us proudly back to our land. You have chosen to draw us near to you. With love we acknowledge you, and proclaim your unity. We praise your eternal one, who chooses Israel with love. On page 101, we invite Clara to lead us once again in the words of the Shema and the Ve'ahavta. These words that come to us from the book of Devarim, of Deuteronomy, are really the statement of faith that we recite each morning, each evening, and when we lie down, when we rise up 3 times a day. And they are followed by the words of the Ve'ahavta. The Ve'ahavta tells us that we should love God with all our hearts, with all our minds, with all our souls. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as we sing these words together.
V'tem kedoshim le'elokechem ani Adonai Eloheichem asher hotzeiti etem me'eretz Mitzrayim li'ot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Eloheichem emet.
Please be seated. Emet v'yatziv, true and certain it is that you are God. As we yearn for certainty in a constantly changing world, enable us to find its source in you. Nachon v'kayam, firm and enduring is your name through all the generations. Ahu v'chaviv, beloved and precious are your teachings to our ancestors and to us. Norah ve'adir, awesome and majestic is the redemptive power that you have displayed to the people of Israel. Our people witness your presence when you delivered us from slavery to freedom. And behold, your saving power, we discovered our own capacity for tikkun olam and mending the world. Moses lifted his staff and showed us the power of trust. Waves of the sea swelled apart, and we crossed over to the shore of freedom. Miriam lifted her timbrel and showed us the power of song. Waves of voices swelled together, and we gave thanks to you for the gift of freedom. Tehilot le'el elyon, like our ancestors, we raise our voices in song to the supreme God, the source of blessing. We sing these same words that our ancestors, Moses and Miriam and all Israel, sang at the shore of Freedom's Sea. We join together at the bottom of page 105 in reading Bet. With prayer, we invite God's presence to suffuse our spirits and let God's will prevail in our lives. Prayer cannot bring water to parched fields, or mend a broken bridge, or rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. So as we come to this next section of our service, it's my pleasure to call upon Jeremy, who's going to lead us in the words of the Amidah. In a moment, we're going to rise at the word kuma, the third word on page 106, because it means rise, and we're going to enter into this section of the service. The first blessing talks about God as the God of our ancestors. The second blessing reminds us of God's power and strength, and that we should use our strength and our power for good. The third blessing, Kedusha, reminds us that it's our duty as partners with God to try to bring more holiness to the world. Jeremy's going to be leading us in chanting those three blessings aloud. Following that, we'll continue silently until page 119. And when you reach there, you may resume your seat. To Israel, Turn now to page 120. May the one who causes peace to reign in the high heavens, let peace descend on us, on all Israel, and all the world. Osei Shalom, Osei Shalom, Ve'im Roma, Ve'im Roma, Uya'aseh Shalom, Uya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu, Aleinu, Ve'al Yisrael, Ve'al Yisrael, Ve'im Turn now to page 125 for Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the order for the reading of Torah on Shabbat morning. And during our reading of Torah on Shabbat this week, we will call upon Clara to read from Torah for the first time as she becomes a bat mitzvah this morning. So on page 125, reading Aleph, Arlene, would you lead us there responsibly, please?
May your eyes sparkle with the light of Torah, and your ears hear the music of its words. May the space between each letter of the scrolls bring warmth and comfort to your soul.
May the scrolls draw holiness from your heart, and may this holiness be gentle and soothing to you in all God's great truths.
May your study be passionate and meaning bear more meaning until life itself arrays itself to you as a dazzling wedding feast.
May your conversation be the commonplace. May blessings to all who listen to your words and see the Torah flowing on your face. We turn to the bottom of page 126. As we rise to take the Torah from the Ark, we invite our Ark openers to come out. And we're going to invite Clara's family to come and join us on the bima as we pass the Torah to her.
Go with the kids.
He step. We're going to have to rearrange ourselves a little bit. Can all of you go over and stand with Cousin Jeremy, please? Okay. Claire, stand next to your mom. Scooch down a little bit this way. All right, perfect. So this morning, Clara, as you receive the Torah from the arms of the people who have come before you, symbolically all of our ancestors that have stood before you in the same place, we pray that Torah will always be a guide for your path, that you will learn from the teachings and the traditions of our people, that it may bring you joy and happiness, and that your world may be filled with shalom, with wholeness, with peace. So we pass the Torah from the generation of your Flavian Zaidi, and we're remembering this morning as well your great-grandma Doris Siegel, who is not here with us physically, but here present with us. K'nei Nahara, she's 99 years old. And Clara, now from your parents to you. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. We turn to face the east. God Adonai Iti, we're passing out some sweets. If you can hold on to those till after the Haftarah reading, please. I know there are some little people that probably need to eat them now. That's okay. Okay. Our Torah reading for this morning is Korach. That comes from the 16th chapter of the book of Numbers, beginning with verse 1. And we have Torah commentaries, those are the large blue books. If you've got one of those and you want to follow along in that book, you can follow on page 1003. If you have one of our older Torah commentaries, and we have two editions, one has the word Torah written down the spine, the other one has all 5 books on the spine. That's on page 1127. And some of those are coming around right now. So again, chapter 16 of the book of Numbers, page 1003 or page 1127.
Your road.
Tan ve'aviram b'nei Eliyav ve'on ben Pelet b'nei Ruvain vayakumu livnei Moshe ve'anashim mibnei Yisrael hamishim umatayim nesiei Edah create moed anshe shem vayikalu al Moshe ve'al Aharon vayamru eleihem rav lahem ki chal ha'edah kulam kedoshim uvtocham Adonai umadua titnasu al kahal Adonai vayishma Moshe vayipol al penav.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Give her a hug.
Baruch et Adonai Hamborah.
Baruch Adonai Hamborah le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai.
Baruch Adonai Hamborah.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vaydaber el Korah vel kol adato lemor boker ve'yoda Adonai et asher lo ve'et hakadosh ve'hikriv elav ve'et asher yichar bo yakriv elav zot asu kulachem motot Korah ve'chol adato Unu vachem eish v'simu eleihem ketoret livnei mahar Adonai mahar v'haya ha'ish Asher yivchar Adonai hu hakadosh Rav lahem b'nei Levi.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yamot Shlishi Shena Bat Baruch Lepero.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol chamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Hamat mikem ki hivdil Elohei Yisrael itchem me'adat Yisrael lehakriv etchem elav le'avod et avodat mishkan Adonai ve'la'amod lifnei ha'edah leshartam ve'yikrev otah ve'ekolachechel ve'levi itach uvikashtem gam kehuna lachem itach v'chol adata hanoadim al Adonai ve'yirein mahu kitalenu alav.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Talmud Bat Mitzvah Hana Bat Shena Hana.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch ata Adonai Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayisla Moshe likro lidatan v'la'aviram b'nei Eliyav v'yomru lo na'aleh hamat ki chal haytanu me'eretz savat hala udvash lahamitenu bamidbar ki tishtarer aleinu gam hisharer af lo el eretz savat hala udvash haviotanu vatite lanu nahalat sadeh v'cherem ha'ene ha'anashim ha'hem tinaker lo na'aleh vayichar leMoshe me'od vayomer el Adonai el tefen el min hatam lo hamor echad mehem nasati v'lo hareoti et echad mehem.
Beautiful.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yashar koach. Mazel tov.
Yamot Hamagbiah Baruch David Ben Yosef B'Osna Yadu Hagolalim.
Please rise as the Torah is lifted. Vezot HaTorah asher son Moshe
HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe V'zot HaTorah V'zot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe V'zot HaTorah Livnei B'nei Yisrael V'zot HaTorah Al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe V'zot HaTorah V'zot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe V'zot HaTorah V'zot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe V'zot HaTorah Livnei B'nei Yisrael V'zot HaTorah Al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe V'zot HaTorah V'zot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe V'zot HaTorah V'zot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe V'zot HaTorah Livnei B'nei Yisrael V'zot HaTorah Al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe V'zot HaTorah V'zot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe V'zot HaTorah. Please be seated. The Haftarah for this morning comes from the book of 1 Samuel, beginning with chapter 11, verse 14. And you can find that in the newer commentary on page 1019, or in the older commentary on page 1265. So either page 1019 or page 1265. And the blessings for Haftarah are on page 131.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar bim tovim v'ratza v'divrechem hane'emarim be'emet Baruch atah Adonai Habocher b'Torah u'v'Moshe Avdo u'v'Yisrael Amo u'v'Nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek Vayomer Shmuel el ha'am lechu v'nelcha ha'Gilgal unhadesham hamlucha v'yalchu ha'am ha'Gilgal v'yamlichu sham et Shaul lifnei Adonai b'Gilgal v'yizbechu sham zivachim shlamim lifnei Adonai v'yashma sham Shaul v'chol anshe Yisrael ad me'od vayomer Shmuel el kol Yisrael hinei shamati b'kolchem lechol asher amartem li ve'amlich alehem melech ve'atah hinei hamelech mithalel lifneihem va'ani zakanti v'shavti uvanai hinam itchem va'ani hitalachti lifneihem min urai ad hayom hazeh hinani anu vi neged Adonai ve'neged Meshiho et shol hamor mi lakachti ve'et mi ashakti et mi ratzoti umiad mi lakachti kofer ve'alim einai bo ve'ashiv lachem vayomru lo ashaktanu velo ratzotanu velo lakachta miyad ish me'uma vayomer alehem eid Adonai bachem ve'eid mishiho hayom hazeh ki lo mitzatem biadi me'uma vayomer eid Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sur kol haolamim tzadik bechol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh ha'mdaber u'mkayem shekol devarav emet b'tzedek al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'mim ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdushat u'lecha lechavod u'tifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lech u'mbarchim otah yitbarach shimcha b'fi kol hay tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh ha'shabbat
Mazel tov. So it is a custom in many congregations that at the end of the Maftir reading, the end when the Bar Bat Mitzvah reads the Haftarah section, that we shower them with sweets. Now, I'm going to ask that you do so very carefully, meaning toss gently underhanded, because we don't want anything to be messed up. She looks beautiful this morning. So I invite you now to join us in showering her with sweetness. We pray that your life continues to be sweet.
Throw the candy.
All right, so now that we have done so, we need helpers to clean up so that we can walk on the bima. Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov. Any of our young people, come and help us. Shabbat if you share with friends. So if you got a lot of candy, share with your friends. Make some new friends.
Make a circle. And we'll make a circle. Reds go here. Wait, so first we need
On this beautiful morning, which is filled with sweetness, we also know that there are some people in our community, in our families, and in our world who are in need of healing. Our world is definitely in need of healing. We know that there are among us people whose lives have been difficult in the past weeks or months or year, and that also within our congregation that is true. And so during the Torah reading, we also ask God's blessing upon those who need healing. I invite you to join me on page 133 for the words of Misha Beirach. And as I look around the sanctuary, if you have someone you're thinking of this morning, you're welcome to speak their name out loud. Please join us on page 135 for the prayer for the state of Israel. Sur Yisrael v'goalo, barech na et medinat Yisrael, Hagshama tikvateinu. Rock and Redeemer of Israel, place your blessing upon the state of Israel, the realization of our hope for a Jewish homeland. Send your light and your truth to all its inhabitants. Spread over them the shelter of your peace. Bestow insight upon its leaders, judges, and representatives, that they may pursue justice and freedom and integrity. Visit blessing upon all your people, Israel. Plant the love of Zion into our hearts, that our footsteps may race to walk upon its soil. And may the vision of your prophet Isaiah soon be fulfilled. For Torah shall come forth from Zion, and God's word from Jerusalem. And let us sing.
His name is Jake. His name is Jake.
We turn now to page 136 as we rise to return the Torah to the Ark.
No, Jacob. No, Jacob.
Thank you. Yeah, got it. Yeah, hallelujah, Shem Adonai, Ki Nizgav, Shmo Levado. Shamayim, Vayarim Keren Le'olam, Tehillah Lechol Chasidav, Livnei Yisrael, Am Krovo. Hallelujah, 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 Hallelujah. Adonai.
pushed them away. All water
Please be seated. So Clara is going to share with us some thoughts about her Torah portion this morning, as she, as a bat mitzvah, has studied this portion not only to chant from it, from the scroll this morning, but also to understand the meaning of the portion. It's a little clear.
My portion takes place in the desert and is about Korah, Datan, Aviram, the sons of Levi, in a time when they rose up against Moses to take over as leader. They started a rebellion by gathering 250 leaders and children to challenge Moses as the leader. Ultimately, Moses said that God would choose who should be the leader. Rebellion can be defined as the act of defying authority or convention. For me, that means going against the rules to stand up for something you believe in. Throughout history, there have been countless examples of individuals who have rebelled against those in power, often in the pursuit of greater freedom or justice. Rebellions that defy authority to make something better are good rebellions. If you rebel because you believe those in power are wrong and you're doing it to make it better for everyone, then it is a good rebellion. Martin Luther King Jr. is an example of a good leader of a rebellion because he was a civil rights leader and he fought for the freedom of all the black community and to end laws that were unfair to fellow African Americans. He believed that he needed to take a leadership role and allow more opportunities to black Americans. He had a dream that people shouldn't be judged on their race or skin color. They should be judged on who they are as people. In the 60s in the USA, black Americans were not allowed to eat at the same places as white people or attend the same universities, drink from the same water fountains, and so much more. Because of King's leadership, black people began to be allowed to do what white people can do. There can still be some improvement, but our society has come a long way with his help. I know that this is an example of a good rebellion because he chose to do the right thing, and in return he has a holiday named after him, and he's recognized as a great hero. In my grade 3 class, we had to write a persuasive argument to be allowed to chew gum in class during EQAO. I really believed we should be allowed, and thus I acted as one of the leaders in the class and presented this argument to the principal. Although this example seems a little silly now, this is what rebellion could look like in an elementary school classroom environment. This rule of not chewing gum didn't make sense, and we were able to change the rule through logical and peaceful means. But the rebellion that Korah led was not a good rebellion, because he did it for the wrong reasons. Korah wanted more power than he deserved. He was jealous of Moses, and he was challenging God, who had chosen Moses and Aaron as leaders. Parents can be compared to Moses in a way. Right now they have all the power, and I often act like I want the power. But I'm smart enough to know that I don't know what my parents know, and I'm not ready to live on my own and make some major life decisions yet. You should only rebel when you want to make things better, not make things worse. In the winter of 2022, a group of truckers drove to Ottawa and blocked off streets and stopped people from going to work. They were constantly honking their horns and scaring people, even using other people's yards as their bathrooms because they felt they shouldn't have to get COVID vaccines or wear masks. They were rebelling against the government, not to make things better, but to hurt the rest of society. They didn't care if other people got sick from COVID because these truckers wouldn't get shots, and these truckers didn't care about the rest of society. And maybe that was Korah and his followers' problem. They weren't ready for leadership. God knew it, but they didn't. They didn't care about the welfare of the Israelites. Korah and his followers wanted power, but they didn't deserve it, and for that they were all punished with death. But perhaps this is a warning. Rebellions do serve purposes, but one has to know if it's a good purpose or a bad one. There are two sides to every story. Moses was given the leadership by God. Moses had earned it, and God had faith in him, and Moses had faith in God. But Korah and his followers seemed to only have faith in themselves, and didn't even know or care about what God wanted apparently. Korach and his followers were not ready for leadership, and they didn't know what was involved. I often want more power than my parents give me, and sometimes I'm a bit of a rebel. When I do things like trying to spend money when I was already told no, or finding ways to extend my screen time, Jeremy and I have ways. But I realize I don't know everything yet, and I know my parents know more than I do. Sometimes I need to remember that my parents are acting in my best interest, and I need to trust that their decisions will benefit me, even if I fully don't understand why or all of the reasons. When I am in Hebrew school, or regular school, or dance, I am being taught what's right and what's wrong. As I grow up, I am learning how to identify when I should stand up for something that is wrong or can be improved, and when I shouldn't challenge something because it's the right thing to do. Becoming a bat mitzvah has offered me the path of growing up and really thinking about what's right and what's wrong, and I will not be a Korach who makes decisions for selfish and self-serving reasons.
Clara, thank you for that very insightful and thoughtful Devar this morning. I know that you've worked hard for this day. You've studied not only Hebrew and the prayers, but also the meaning of the Torah portion. I think you've really given us a lot to think about this morning. I'm glad that you're not going to be a Korach. The Torah and the Haftorah portion for this morning really both present for us examples of rebellion. And as you said, there are times when it's good to rebel, and there are times when it's not appropriate. I also think you have a lot of wisdom beyond your years that you realize that perhaps there are some things your parents can still teach you, right? And as you become a bat mitzvah, you remember what those words mean? Bat mitzvah, daughter of the mitzvot, the commandments or the commitments that we make as adults in the Jewish community. That means we take on more responsibilities and more obligations. And sometimes that's challenging, it's difficult, but you have risen to that challenge. Sometimes when we say, well, you're now adult in the Jewish community, it sounds confusing because an adult in our greater society means you have certain rights and responsibilities, like living on your own in your own apartment and driving a car and all those things. And we know you're not old enough yet to do those things, and you recognize that wisdom. And of course, I know you and Jeremy get along most of the time, and some of the time you don't. Or maybe it's the opposite, I don't know. But you certainly seem to be really supportive of each other, which I think is wonderful. And we know that many of your friends are here with you this morning to celebrate as well, and it's great to have friends that are here, not only to celebrate with you, but also to be there when you have challenges. So we hope and pray that everyone who is here with you is here because they love you and because they understand who you are as a whole person. I wanted to just ask you, what was the most meaningful part of preparing for your bat mitzvah?
I can't play the guitar.
The speech, learning the Torah and understanding it. And what was the most difficult? What was the most challenging part? The Torah. Well, definitely the Torah is probably for most people the most difficult. For those of you that didn't have a chance to look in the Torah scroll when Zadie Bryan held it up, you could probably see in there that there are a lot of words. And in the Siddur, in the prayer book that we're reading from this morning, we also have vowels. But the Torah has no vowels in it, has no vocalization, and has no punctuation. And the chanting that Clara learned took a long time to learn also. Our students start studying Hebrew when they come to our Beit Sefer when they're very young, and then gradually by grade 4, they start learning more intensely. So that by the time of bat mitzvah, you've spent about a year on that portion or so. Because the Torah doesn't have any of those vocalization marks, it doesn't have any of the punctuation or even the chants in it. So she's worked very hard to come to this day, and we're very proud of you. And we look forward to seeing what you're going to do, looking forward to continuing to learn with you here at Solel. We're also very grateful for everyone who has supported you in coming to this point in your life, your family, your mom and dad, Jen and Ryan. And Jen was actually, you told me you were the first baby named here on this bima when the congregation was founded, which is pretty amazing. Our congregation is coming up on our 50th anniversary this year, so we won't tell you how old you are, but somewhere the building was later, so you can go out and figure that out later. But that's pretty amazing. And your Booby and Zany, Brian and Penny, and your Aunt Marcy, as well as your Grandma and Grandpa Ed and Linda, and everyone else, all of your relatives, your cousins and friends that are here to celebrate with you. We're so thrilled that you are with us this morning to celebrate this amazing milestone in Clara's life. Mazel tov. I want to call upon your very proud parents, Jen and Ryan, who want to share some words with you.
So the last time we had to make a speech like this was for Jeremy's bar mitzvah a couple years ago. During COVID, obviously, there was restrictions and we had to film our speech on an iPhone, and it was obviously one of the benefits because it took us several attempts to get it right. We don't have that benefit today, so we're going to do our best to try and get it right the first time.
Okay, so Clara, not quite like your brother. We would say you are not exactly an easy baby, and yet in some ways, you're as perfect as can be. Honestly, it's still pretty true today, so we're going to give you a few examples of why. You were born and scored perfect 10s on your APGAR scores, something doctors told us rarely happens, and yet then you screamed your head off through the bath, through the night, everything. At your baby naming celebration in this building, you cried and cried, and it was only Aunt Pearl eventually who worked her magic and had you then sleeping like an angel that everyone saw. You learned quickly to sleep on your own 12 hours through the night at 3 months old, and yet all you did was cry every time it was time to nap. Bubby definitely recalls a time in Hilton Head where she could not get you to nap on the beach in a stroller. As a young preschooler, you were seen by others as the little girl who could already write her name, sing "O Canada," you learned everything early, and you always slept and ate well, and you were literally the cutest little girl. But some of us will remember the tantrums. Nothing ever worked, and even Daddy tried taking away all your dolls and hiding them, and even that didn't faze you. It never worked. We have the most adorable picture of you after literally a 2-hour tantrum in Hilton Head. I don't remember what it was about, but the Laskins definitely remember the angel picture of you at dinner afterwards on the beach. I'm pretty sure us and my family only ever see this side of Clara, so to everyone else here, I'm pretty sure you only see perfect Clara. I don't even think Grandma believes that you act like this. We did try to video it once, but that didn't work either. Perhaps this was just your way of rebelling at a young age.
There are days and weeks during the year, particularly during the dance season, where I feel like I barely get to see Clara. Many of you know that she spends endless hours at the dance studio working on perfecting her many dances, while I'm usually driving Jeremy around to baseball practices. 10 years ago, I knew nothing about competitive dance, obviously, why would I? I had no idea how hard these girls work to develop their skills and work on routines that become more and more complex every year. I still don't understand the scoring system, I probably never will, but I know how hard you work at it, I know how hard your teammates work at it, and I know that you have a dedication and a passion, and it continues to amaze both of us. Your ability to perform so well as an individual and as a teammate in front of a crowd of people is a demonstration of both skill and self-confidence. I fully expect that these skills will benefit you in the future of your game. We're equally impressed by Clara's willingness to take on new challenges. It's not uncommon to have her come home and tell us casually that she's now participating in reading announcements at school, or emceeing a performance at school, or trying out for the basketball team. We're envious of this attitude, and again, we hope that you continue to push yourself and try new things that you have. I mentioned earlier that there are times when we barely get to see each other, but I think that also makes the time that we have together more valuable. I feel like I don't quite have you figured out yet, but we are enjoying the process of working towards figuring that out.
As we watch you put on your show today, we are again reminded of the perfect 10s and all of your hard work and just what an amazing young lady you are becoming. An official teenager and woman in the Jewish community. Except anyone who knows Clara knows she's been a teenager for years. We can't exactly say that you took on this task with ease either. There was a little bit of nagging and a lot of complaining. As you do every time you encounter a hard math problem, or a couple new Torah verses, or a new tap combo, every time you come home and say it's too hard, and then you practice, and you remember that anything can be accomplished. We hope that you always remember this, and we love you.
Mazel tov, mazel tov. It's my pleasure now to call my cousin Charlotte. She's going to share with us a song that I think doesn't need an explanation, but it's a blessing for Clara on this day.
Of course, the program came after that, and I'm crying. And, it's always fun to sing. So this is a little song called Lucky La, which I think a lot of you know. So I'd love if you sing along when I get to the chorus, or any chorus that you know. Yes. I didn't ask Jen if that was okay. We've all been singing all morning. It goes like this. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lucky luck. Something like that. So please join. Wow, truly you're making me feel good. It's not fair to sing after that. Okay. Mazel tov, Clara.
To a place you do not
Thank you, Charlotte. That was beautiful. And you are a blessing. You know, I think it's a very important message to think about, too. In that section of Torah, God says, Lech lecha, lechi lach, go where I show you and go to yourself. And as you become a bat mitzvah, it's always important to think about both of those things, both about going out into the world and also being true to yourself. So I'd like to call upon Arlene Botnick, our Director of Education. Yes, you have to follow that, Arlene.
I don't sing.
To share some words of blessing with Clara and also some presentations on behalf of our community.
Again, from Brian, Clara, we didn't see the tantrums. We saw the beautiful, the angelic, the kind, the suave, the genteel, and thank you so much for only showing that at Big Safe so well. It's truly been a pleasure getting to know you even more, working on the sermon with you, and seeing you develop into an amazing young lady. And I understand when we started talking about it, you really wanted to look at the necessity to rebel, the necessity to change, as all our young people need to do, but to know when the change is needed, to know when to speak up. That's the challenge. And Korach learned the hard way it was wrong, but perhaps in your fight for chewing gum during those tests, you made a point and made a statement and got something changed that wasn't perhaps fair in your eyes. So as we see you on the Bima today, as we hope we will see you continuing in your Jewish life, in your dancing, in your public school life, develop into a good and wonderful member of society. We hope everything you've learned with your parents, with your family, your grandparents at Beit Sefer Solel will guide you so you'll know when to stand up and be counted and when to say what's being done is right. So I'm really honored to be on the pulpit with you now and present you with a number of gifts. First of all, from the women of Solel, a donation has been made to our 50th anniversary Torah fund. For the first time in 50 years, Solel is going to be getting a new Torah, and a portion will be in your honor. As well, from our religious committee, our community, our school, and our congregation, 2 very special books. First of all, a festival Machor, so you can actually read some of the festival prayers at home. And then another book, Alnus Zote Techa, on the doorposts of your house. A really good book that I think down the road you will value greatly. Mazel Tov, you are a wonderful bat mitzvah.
No, you can't sit down yet. We do have a tradition here at Solel as well that we invite anyone who has been a guide on the path for Clara to rise and join with us. Family members, if you'd like to come up and join us on the Bima, if you have been a supporter of Clara, if you have been a mentor, if you have been someone who has helped her on this way, as well as our Beit Sefer Solel teachers, we invite you to rise at your seats. Family, come on up. Everyone who has been a support as she's been growing up, bringing her to this point. This is a blessing that says we are grateful to be celebrating on this beautiful day of joy. We are celebrating this wonderful day and recognizing that this is a moment in the journey. The prayer is called Shehechianu. And we say Mazel Tov to all of you, too, for helping us to reach this beautiful day of joy. Look at all these people, Claire, that are here and have been here and will continue to be here. They have your back, as I'm sure you will have theirs. So we turn now to page 149 for the concluding section of our service. We rise in body or spirit as we pray the words of Aleinu. We pray that the day will be soon when the world is at peace. Aleinu Shabbat Ladom Hakol Lateinu Aleinu Zerbreshi Asher Samtel Kenu Yafed Shalom Velor Aleinu Aleinu Mahuto V'Anachnu Korim U'Mishtachavim U'Modim L'Ifnei Melech Malkei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ve'emar Ve'haya Adonai Le'melech al kol haaretz Vayom Lahu Vayom Lahu Yireh Adonai Echad U'Shemo 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 Please be seated. At this time, our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those of our friends and neighbors, and all of those people whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We recall at this time one for whom we are in Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, Ben Hazan, the brother of Ray, and the brother-in-law of Bella. We recall as well the following whose yahrzeit, the anniversary of whose death occurs this week. Burton and Joyce Netto, the parents of Sherry Amar, the grandfather of Adam, Nathan, and Jacob. Charles Heller, the grandfather of Howard Shapiro. Dennis Saman, the father of Jenny Dintner. Al Mackay, the father of Jason, the grandfather of Mackenzie, Liam, and Shelby. Doris Adler, the mother of Ralph and the grandmother of Allison and Michael. Sally Garber, the mother of Gail Feldman, the grandmother of Michelle, Jessica, and Ryan. Henry Zauberman, the father of Helene Fleischman. Fritz Rothschild, the father of Les and the grandfather of Lisa and Debbie. Sidney Greenberg, the father of Ted and Bayla Greenberg-Consett, and the grandfather of Joshua, Emma, Zachary, and Hannah. And if you are here and wanting to say Kaddish for someone as well this morning, we invite you to speak their name out loud or to hold their name in your heart. We invite those who are mourning to please rise first. We say to you, Min hamakom tinachamu, may you find comfort in God's sheltering presence. As a community, we all rise to support those who are mourning and to say Kaddish for those who have no one to say it for them as we turn to page 159. Yid Gadal, Yid Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma, Dibrach, Yerutei, Yamlik Malchutei, B'chayechon, U'yamechon, U'chayei T'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, Bizman Kar'iv, V'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Marach, Le'alam Al'amei Almaya, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitromah, V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shmei, Kudashah Richu, Le'elam, Minkol Birchata B'shirata, Chushvachata, V'echata, Damiran Be'alma, V'imru Amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabbah bin Shemaiah, V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Osei Shalom B'imromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'al Kol B'nei Adam, V'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all those who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved among us, among all of our people, and among all the nations and families of earth. And let us say together. Amen. Please be seated. It's my pleasure at this time to call upon Miriam Schumann, representing our board, to bring greetings and announcements.
Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I'm Miriam Schumann, and I'm a member of the Solel Board. So I want to thank the tech volunteers Friday night and this morning, Joel Brown. Shamas Friday night, Isaiah Longken. The Gabbai today, Nicole Hansen. ONEG sponsor, Friday. Okay. Sorry, this is my first time doing this. So, for current activities, updates, and announcements, you can please subscribe to Solel Facebook, Solel Twitter, and Instagram accounts, and you can also check our website. Tuesday morning minions are at 7 a.m. Please join us for a brief service and wonderful community breakfast. The last one until September will be Tuesday, June 27th. We are still looking for shofar blowers for the high holidays. So please, if you're interested, contact Mark Botnick or the Solel office. We will be happy to do training. Upcoming services. All services will be live streamed. Masks are no longer being mandated at Solel, but you can choose to wear them if you feel safer. We will continue to monitor for changes as well, so that could possibly change. Friday, June 30th at 8 p.m. there'll be a regular Erev Shabbat service. Please remember there are no Saturday Shabbat services in July. Upcoming services, Friday, July 7th, Friday, July 14th, Friday, July 21st, and Friday, July 28th, 8 p.m. There are regular Erev Shabbat services on each of those dates. Solel's Living Torah Project. You can be part of writing Solel's new Torah scroll. You can be as part of the upcoming 50th anniversary celebrations in 2023. Solel is continuing its project to create our first brand new Torah scroll. So you can be part of this exciting project by sponsoring a letter, a word, a phrase, a verse, a parsha, and more. So you can check out the Living Torah Project page on our website and find out how you can take part. Our Jerusalem Wall Bricks fundraiser continues for only $60 per child. It's a good way to commemorate a bar bat mitzvah, a birth, or a special birthday. Please contact the office for details. Solel's own prayer book is available from the office for $36. You can also purchase commemorative book plates for $25. They're placed inside the prayer books in the sanctuary and are a good way to mark a birth or other life cycle event or to remember a loved one. You can contact the office to make arrangements. So also, if you're here visiting today and you have any questions, or if you're a member with something on your mind, you can speak to me or any other board member, and we are always happy and eager to speak with you. Thanks again for being here today.
Thank you, Miriam. As we prepare to conclude our service with Kiddush and Motzi this morning, it's my pleasure to call upon Rabbi Englander and Cheryl Englander to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi. On page 164, I believe as well that Rabbi Englander would like to say a few words to our bat mitzvah this morning.
For sure. Thank you, Rabbi. Claire, did you join me once again on the Bima? Thank you. Well, it's been a long time since your baby baby, and it's wonderful to see you standing here as a brilliant and a mature young woman. We all wish you a mazel tov. I must say, though, that I'm not surprised to see how accomplished you are, because I know your family. Your Bubby and your Zadie have been members of Solel Congregation since dinosaurs walked upon the earth. And your Zadie Brian has certainly been a regular at our Tuesday morning minyanim and many, many more things besides. As was mentioned, your mom had her baby naming here at Solel. She also stood here as a bat mitzvah, as you are doing today, and she graduated from Kala class as well. So we call that the Solel Life Cycle Full Service Package, all right? And hopefully you'll get to enjoy all those wonderful things as well. I know that both your dad and your mom and all of your family are extremely proud of you today, and with very good reason. Now, I also noticed that you're wearing sneakers, so that after the service is over, when we go into the social hall, you can go back to being a kid for a little while, okay? So that's perfectly all right. In the meantime, if you'll join Cheryl and me over here at the Kiddush table, we'll ask everyone to join us in Kiddush, and please rise. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Ve'ni uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinavash, Shabbat vayinavash, Shabbat vayinavash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Al ken berach Adonai et yom ha-Shabbat vayikadshehu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei b'ri ha'aretz. L'chaim. Now, you can be seated for a moment. I think there's some cousins here of Clara's who are under the age of 13, under the age of bar bat mitzvah. If that's you, put your hand up. Okay, you guys come on up here. You've got an important job to do. You're going to be challah schleppers, all right, in just a minute. When we say the blessing, first you tear and then you share. Okay, so you take a bit for yourself and then share with others as well. So first of all, we wash our hands. Share.
Here.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim. Ready? There's nothing up my sleeve. There we go. So ready? Get set and pull. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech